Properties of angles in parallel lines. Parallel lines are equal distance apart. They never meet. They have a symbol on the line. A transversal line crosses two parallel lines at two distinct points. The regions. There are 8 angles if one transversal line intersects with one pair of parallel lines. Interior alternate angles. Interior angles are angles inside the parallel lines. Alternate angles lie on the opposite side of the transversal line. They are congruent. This is the yellow area. Angles 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Angles 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Exterior alternate angles. Exterior angles are angles outside the parallel lines. Alternate angles lie on the opposite side of the transversal line. They are congruent. These are the exterior angles in the yellow. Angles 1 and 8 are alternate exterior angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Angles 2 and 7 are alternate exterior angles. They are congruent, and they have the same measures. Corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent. Their angles can be matched on the same side of the transversal line. Angles 1 and 5 are corresponding angles. They are congruent. Their measures are equal. Angles 2 and 6 are corresponding angles. They are congruent. Their measures are equal. Angles 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. They are congruent, and their measures are equal. Angles 4 and 8 are corresponding angles. They are congruent, and their measures are also equal. Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are angles which are next to each other. They form a straight line. They are supplementary. The sum of their angles is 180 degrees. Angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. They are next to each other. Angles 1 and 3 are adjacent. They are next to each other. Angles 2 and 4 are adjacent angles. Angles 3 and 4 are adjacent. Angles 5 and 6 are adjacent angles. Angles 5 and 7 are adjacent. They also form a straight line. Angles 6 and 8 are adjacent. Their sum is 180 degrees. They form a straight line. And finally, angles 7 and 8 are also adjacent. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are directly opposite each other. They are congruent. Angles 1 and 4 are vertical angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Angles 2 and 3 are vertical angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Angles 5 and 8 are vertical angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Angles 6 and 7 are vertical angles. They are congruent. They have the same measures. Consecutive interior angles. Consecutive interior angles are supplementary. Their sum is 180 degrees. Angles 3 and 4 are consecutive interior angles. Their sum is 180. Angles 5 and 6 are consecutive interior angles. Their sum is 180.